Welcome to the Data Hall YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to look into what are the different types of data that we can use in R. So we have integer, we have numeric, logical, character, complex, and raw data type. So when we talk about data type, it is how R stores our data. So the integer data type would only store integers, right? The numeric data type is more kind of a holistic data type that would store all kind of numbers, whether they are integer, whole numbers, negative numbers, or fractional numbers. The logical data type only store true or false value. So if you are referring to true or false, they would always be referred to in capital letters, in all capital letters. And the character data type is basically string. And whenever we refer to characters, we use single or double quotes. Then there are complex data type that would have certain unknown values, imaginary values, right? And then we have this raw data type, which store raw bytes. So normally we work with these kind of data. So integer, numerical, logical, and character, and then there is factors. So we are going to start with working with these data type. So when we talk about integer data, we write the number and then we write the capital L. So when we do that, it would store that specific number into a vector. So a vector is a single or multiple values of same data type. So it's the name of this vector is int underscore data. And if we want to check what is the type of that data, it would tell us that it is an integer type of data. So let's store a 19.2 into this object or vector called num underscore data. And if you want to check the type of that data, it would tell us that it is numeric. So we know that it is a decimal number or fractional number, and these fractional numbers are represented by a numeric data type, but again an integer can also be represented by a numerical data type. If specifically we want to check what is the data type, then we would write type of and then the name of the object that we want to check. And then there is logical data type, and let's just say we want to check if this integer value, let me copy this and write over here. So if whatever the value is stored in this integer is greater than 13 or not, and we want to store it into another object called check, then you would see from your environment that it would hold a value of true, because 13, because this 15 that is within this int underscore data object is greater than 13. And if you want to check its data type, it is logical. So it holds either true or false. Then let's create an object called name, and it would contain characters. And that would be a character type of data. So whether you use a single inverted, single quotation mark or double quotation mark, it would remain the same data type. If we wanted to check the data type of an object, like we want to, although we can use class function to check the data type, but if we wanted to check and store it into a logical format, whether it is true or false, so we have different functions, like we have as.integer. So we want to check using this function, we want to check whether this 15 which is stored is in this vector is integer or not. So we just press enter, and it would create another object called check underscore integer, which would be equal to true. So using this is underscore integer, we are checking whether this specific vector or data is of integer type or not. So it says true, that means it is of an integer type. We have this num data, which is 19.2. We know that it isn't integer. So let's check whether it is or not. So we can see that this check underscore int would produce a value of false. So it would give us a logical value. We have different types of them. So we have is numeric, which would check if a value is numerical or not. So we know that num data contains a numerical value, and that would give us a true. And we also know that int underscore data is an integer, but integer does also fall under a numerical data type, so it would also give us true. But name is a character, so if we check its data type, then it would give us false. So we can also check whether a vector is logical, its character, its complex type, it is a data frame, and there are lots of ways to check different types of data. We can also change the data type of different object, and we check it using is dot and then the name of the type, and we convert it using as dot, right? So there is this int data, we know it is an integer, and if we want to convert it into a numerical data type, then we would write as numeric and then the name of the vector that we want to convert. So you can see that there is this changed vector that had been created, this changed object, and if let's check the class of that changed object, it would show us numeric. But if we checked the class of the integer data, int data, we know that we created it over here and its class is integer. We can change it into character, so we can change this int underscore data, which is an integer, but let's change it into character and it would be changed into character. But we cannot change a character into an integer, and that would produce an NA value, a missing value. So the object would be created, right? But it would produce a missing value. So in our next video, we are going to look into how do we check the data types of a data frame. So and in this video, we worked with vectors, but when we do data science, we normally work with data frames rather than vectors. So in our next video, we are going to look into how do we check the data type and change the type of data in a data frame. So thanks for watching this video. Do subscribe and do hit the bell icon.